This video will demonstrate how to create a purchase order in Agiliron. Log in to your Agiliron instance. At the top of the screen, you're going to click the New menu and you're going to select New Purchase Order. Before we begin entering the purchase order, there's two things that need to have happened. First, all of your products need to be loaded and all of your vendors should be assigned to those products. If you have not assigned a product to a vendor, then you will not be able to create a purchase order. So you'll want to make sure that that has happened first. On the order entry screen, you're going to enter a subject. This can be anything that you need to use to identify this order. You will enter a vendor name. You can begin by entering part of the vendor name and it will look up in the list something that matches what you've got here. So I have Trend Micro. I'm going to select that vendor name and you can see that a phone number and some default information automatically populated into this purchase order. That's because when I set up the vendor, I set up some default information so that I didn't have to enter it each time I created a purchase order. You can also search for vendor name by clicking on this magnifying glass. This will allow you to search through a list of names. You can search alphabetically, you can enter the name, company name, category, those kinds of things. If I click on T, you can see that this is the list of vendors that start with a T. So I can select from this list as well, and it does the same thing. Requisition number. If you have a requisition number, this is something that you can provide on the purchase order. And you'll see that there's other fields as well. Some of this may be more information than you need, and that's fine. You can skip through the things you don't need. The things that are starred in red are required, so you will want to make sure that those are filled out. The only thing you absolutely don't have to check is the status box, because once you save the purchase order, it's going to mark it as created automatically. You do have the option of clicking the ordered button so that when you actually send the order to the vendor, you can go back in and check this box to make sure that you know that you've ordered this item. You have a payment method. You can leave this as default. Generally, most people, if they're using QuickBooks, they manage their payables in QuickBooks, and so you may or may not want to use this field. You can leave it as is for now. The billing and shipping information have automatically populated based on my user information because I'm the admin. This is who it's being billed to. And then my deliver to is the warehouse that I've set up in my vendor, so that when I create a purchase order, it's automatically going to be delivered to this location every time I create the purchase order. Now, if I need to change this location, I can move up to the top and I can say ship to San Diego, and then it will ship to the San Diego office. I can begin by entering my product details. So if I know the product name or code, I can start typing that in now. And I'll get a list of things that match, and I can select it from the list. You can enter notes that will appear on the purchase order. You can change the quantity. So let's say you want to order 10 of these. You can also set it up so that every time you order this item, if you have a minimum order quantity, that amount can be populated here as well. You normally set that up in your product template, and you can set it up manually in the back office as well. Vendor price, this is the unit cost for your item most of the time. So your unit cost here, you can see that they are the same. In the event that, let's say this is a new order and your vendor is charging a different price, if you know what that is, you can go ahead and enter that in for this order. Now this doesn't change the vendor price permanently, this just changes it for this specific order. If you get a discount, you can enter that here. If your vendor charges shipping, you can enter that amount here as well. And then sales tax. When you set up your vendors, you have the option of setting up your default sales tax authority. So if you're never charged tax on your purchases, you can set it up so that each time you create a purchase order, you're never charged tax on it. If your vendor does charge tax, you can set that up in the vendor account as well, so that every time you create your purchase order, the appropriate tax amount is being charged on the order. If you have multiple products that you need to order, you can click the Add Product button and you can enter the remaining items on the order. You can use the magnifying glass to search for products if you don't know the name or the product code. So I can click the speakers here and I can order 10 of those, and I can add as many products as I need. If you're working on a large purchase order and you need to step away from your computer, we do recommend that you save the order and then you can leave and do whatever task that you need to and come back and open this order later. That way you don't lose your progress. If you're in the middle of this purchase order and you get up and walk away from your desk and the system logs you out, you are going to lose your work. So we do recommend that you save often if you're working on a big order. That way you don't lose your information. Once you've entered all of the product information, you're ready to save your order. You will see at the bottom terms and conditions. These are terms and conditions from your vendor. You may have set these up when you set up your vendors. I didn't set anything up for this vendor, so I have nothing to show here. Description, this is additional information that's going to show on the purchase order for your vendor. You can click Save. And now you're ready to send your purchase order to your vendor. When you click the Purchase Order PDF button, you have the option to either print or email a copy of the purchase order to the vendor. If you have set up contacts and email addresses for your vendors, if you set those up in the Agiliron back office, you can email a copy directly to your vendor. It goes straight from Agiliron, and that's all you have to do. If you'd like to print a copy of the PDF, you can print this and it will download a copy to your computer if you're using Google Chrome, and you can fax that over or use that in any way that you want to. I have not set up a contact on this vendor, so we're not going to use the email function. After you've ordered the item, all you have to do now is wait for the product to be delivered to your warehouse, and then you can receive the order.